What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel and welcome to another Watcher of Realms video. Guys, I'm super pumped for this one because this will be the very first, the biggest collaboration that Watcher of Realms has in the game, and is one of my most favorite ones as well. I am talking about the Dracula IP, and I'm not just liking it because I'm from Transylvania or anything like that. I just think it's freaking awesome, and we're going to have some new characters, but we're going to talk about all that in just a bit. I'm going to walk you through all of the details, free characters, guaranteed events, tons of other rewards, and goodies that you can actually get from all of the other events that are being part of the IP collaboration. Before, I just want to start by giving a massive shout out to Watcher of Realms for sponsoring today's video. And by the way, guys, if by any chance you have been living under a rock for the last few years or so and you haven't tried Watcher of Realms yet, I would strongly recommend you to give it a go. You can try it by clicking the link in the description down below or the pinned comment, or scan any of the QR codes you see on the screen and give it a go. You're gonna love it. If you haven't tried it yet, you will love it. If you tried it yet, probably you're still playing it because it's a really, really good game. They are literally pioneers in what they're doing. They've implemented so many features, so many quality of life features in this game that have been implemented in games like Raid after they've done it and stuff. So not just that, but in terms of graphics as well, they are literally some of the best graphics in this genre, if not the best. But you're gonna see once we get at the characters. This is a free-to-play game, an RPG game, a very strategic game. The gameplay mechanics, they are actually quite different from what we're used to, but we're going to discuss a bit about that in just a bit as well. And you can download the game on iOS, you can download it on Android, and they have their own PC client as well, guys. Now, with the Dracula IP collaboration event, guys, you're going to be able to put your hand for free on Vlad Dracula. Hopefully I'm saying that right. You're going to be able to get that character for free. We're going to have Lady Mina, we're going to have Dr. Van Helsing, and of course, we're going to have Count Dracula joining in Watcher of Realms. We're briefly going to talk a bit about the characters. You will have a bunch of events, like for example, you have the Sanguine Throne, but you have this calendar in-game. So I do want to give them big props for doing something like this, okay? You can see everything that is happening in the game. You can plan ahead. They're not hiding their events, unlike other games, which gives you time to prepare for what you want to do. And that is absolutely amazing. We have the Dracula's Castle, we have the Bloodline Summoning, which will be for Lady Mina, the Bloodletter Invocation of Spirits, and of course, a bunch of other events. But the ones that are of high interest to us, of course, are the Dracula ones. We have the Scarlet Fist Ancient Summoning as well. So right here, you're going to have a bunch of things that might not be fully opened just yet, but you have the Scarlet Fist Master Summoner, from where you can actually perform summons, get an avatar, get a frame, and at 90 Ancient Summons, you're going to be able to get Count Dracula as guaranteed. But let me just quickly show you the characters. So we're going to go here to the summoning banner. So you have this very first banner, 90 summons, you get Dracula guaranteed out of here. And of course, this is Count Dracula. He is a very good burst single target damage dealer. Plus, he can actually inflict drain, which will be really, really helpful to keep your team alive. He can boost the damage of your characters. And not just that, but he is extremely, extremely good to apply anti-healing. If we're talking about guild versus guild, if we're talking about other areas where you might need this, he's going to be really, really effective for it. What I do like is that they have a very, very cool skin for him too. Like, I think that this one looks so much better. Like, the younger Dracula, right? They do have some awesome cinematic gameplay as well, guys, for pretty much all of the characters. One thing that they are doing really, really well in Watcher of Realms is creating crazy lore around their characters. So each one of the characters, there are over 200 characters in the game, over 10 factions, but each one of the characters, they have their own unique lore that you can, of course, discover if you are into lore and stuff. So we have Count Dracula jumping in here. We have Van Helsing fighting him. Of course, Van Helsing is the main character that was hunting Dracula. If you guys are familiar with the story, very good movies as well, by the way. If you haven't watched them yet, you should definitely do it. But that is one of the cinematic gameplay. And this is, of course, for Dracula. Then we do have, of course, more characters, right? So moving on to the next banner, right here, you're going to have Lady Mina, which is a very, very good control character as well. So the basic attacks can inflict blood sigil and slow on the targets. Then you have, of course, strong CC. So she will be very good at CCing enemies. You can see some of the skill animations right there. She will inflict blood sigil and immobilize state on up to 10 different targets in range, which makes her really, really effective at crowd control. And she can enable your other characters to deal damage. What is really cool about her is that she has the ability to summon Dracula through her mirror. This is, for example, her cinematic gameplay video right here. And you're gonna see Dracula trying to fight right there with Van Helsing, but she's just pulling him through her mirror, which is pretty damn cool. So she is a very interesting character. Plus, she looks freaking amazing. I mean, the graphics on her, damn. They are really, really killing it with the graphics. I'm constantly seeing a lot of videos that they post on their YouTube channel, which, by the way, you should definitely check it out. They have such good cinematic gameplay videos, guys, and the graphics on the characters are like really, really badass. Really nice. So there you go. That was Lady Mina for you right here. And that is one of her main special power. Now, some of the characters, they are sharing the same faction, like Lady Mina, Van Helsing, and Dracula, which actually enables you to do some really, really good team comps with the Dracula IP heroes, right? Then we have one more banner right here. Actually, 200 summons to get Lady Mina as well, guaranteed. So that is a different banner. I forgot to specify that. And we have the Van Helsing. You're going to have a regular banner with higher chance to basically pull him from here. He is, I think, out of all of them, probably one of the best. He's a very, very solid damage dealer. You have this skill, attack up to 5 different attacks up to 5 different enemies. This one right here, when activated, gains 20% penetration and immediately triggers 1 talent special attack. Then, of course, you will have this. During the ultimate, increases the Giant Axe attack chance to ignite mithril shrapnel, which has a chance to explode when taking basic attack and Giant Axe damage from the caster. Really, really solid. Let's actually... I was gonna say, do we have a cinematic video for him in here as well? Because I was like really, really curious to watch it as well. But you see, they have very, very in-depth lore for all of their characters. Now, I think out of all of the awakenings, I feel like the first awakening is the best on each one of them. If you're summoning duplicates and stuff, I feel like that is definitely worth trying to go for, because they do gain quite a lot of additional stats. And you can get the last final hero, guys, Vlad Dracula from the Dracula's Castle event. So right here you have a bunch of different things, but the most important one is heading back home to Transylvania, at least back home for me. But let me just quickly show you Vlad Dracula first. We're going to talk about the event in just a second. Basically, he's kind of like a tank damage dealer type of a hero. Pretty good damage. He can actually bring in a lot of damage reduction and relocate enemies as well while he's doing all of the rest. So he can be a pretty good tank. He is part of a different faction though, so he's part of the cultists. It might be a bit harder to kind of like synergize the team with all 4 of them, but the good thing in Watcher of Realms is that the game mechanics are different. You're not only playing with 4 or 5 characters in a team, you do have the abilities to bring in more characters, which can easily enable you to create very good synergies in between 2 different factions. So let's head back into Transylvania. It's an open world game mode where you're basically going to accumulate different resources, wood, iron, gold, plus you have these repair parts. But the most important thing is the Sanguine Font. You kill enemies and you can collect these to upgrade your level. Now, in order to defeat one of the enemies, you need to be at least 1 level higher than the enemy that we are challenging right here. That will give us more Sanguine Essence, which will of course increase our level, our stats, and that will allow us to basically just go and conquer all of this map. It's a huge map, collect chests, basically is a open world type of experience, which is actually pretty cool. Now, you will have the Vampire Diaries, collect different pages to basically collect more rewards as well. And it's just basically taking over the whole territory. But let's actually dive into some different type of gameplay. So this is a battle grid system, guys. You're gonna have the tiles where you're deploying your characters, and you're gonna have tons of different PvE content. You have guild bosses, you have tons of different dungeons, XP dungeon, dungeons required to awaken your characters, or of course dungeons to farm gear, which is what we are doing right here. Now what I'm doing is actually an auto battle. Basically, the game kind of like, let's just say, registers your previous run, and then it repeats exactly the same thing over and over again while you're doing auto battles. That's how the game is actually being played, and this is a very, very strategic game. I'm actually gonna show you a different run after, where you can actually bring in more heroes. But you see, we have 5 heroes already. We could deploy tanks if we feel like we need to. The 6th hero is in here. We're bringing up a healer. You kind of like want to bring in the right combination of characters in here. Now, factions are playing a very, very important role, because you have kind of like the faction leader, which will, of course, enhance the stats on your characters. But what's really, really important as well is to make sure you have healers, a tank, you have marksmen, you have mages in there, to make sure you have the best possible team combination. That's basically the whole idea. So let's go versus this stage, for example. Actually, no, let me just show you a different boss. Because we want to see something a bit different, right? We're going to go to the XP rate for this one, because that's a pretty interesting one. It's very similar with the Tide, where you just have waves of enemies incoming, and they will keep you busy. So let's go in here. You see, you have basically 2 lines of characters. You will be able to unlock more once you're going to progress more into the game, which will enable you, of course, to bring in more characters into the fight. So let's just say we're taking one of the tanks out. We're bringing one of the other mages in here. We can drop him out, actually, and let me just put him in as the leader. And then we can look at bringing in more from the same factions if we can. We have a healer already. We have a marksman. We have 2 mages in there. What I need actually is to bring in a tank. So I'm going to bring in a tank as well, and we're going to go into the fight, just in case if I need that tank. You can assist units. Either you're assisting your mates, either they're assisting you right there, in case if you need a more powerful character from them. So basically, you will have this thing is right here, energy, that will enable you to basically bring in characters, okay? So you can only summon them into the battle once you have enough of that energy on. So we're going to deploy our tank right here. We're going to put the marksman right here to hit all of them. I did position the other characters a bit like meh, because I was in a bit of a rush to make it happen. Basically, you see the number of enemies right here at the top. We have 10 out of 60. I'm going to bring in a mage in here. Let's make sure we're doing some damage. We're not really in a desperate need for healers versus this particular fight. I'm actually going to have to put this one right here to make sure we're killing as many as possible. We do not want many of them to actually get to our crystal to destroy it, because that will be a problem. You have some of the skills like this one. Some of them will be auto. Some of them will be manual. Okay, you're gonna want to make sure you're activating those as well to be able to do as much damage to the enemies as possible. That would be very, very important. So let's do this, for example. Look at that. We have this full field where we're just dropping lightning damage, smashing all the enemies. So once you're doing this once, which is really, really cool, the game will basically record this run for you. And when you're doing the auto battles, the game will always do the same thing that you're doing. When you want to improve it, you're just going to have to come back to it and basically do changes, bring in different characters, etc., and then get it done. But that's basically how the game plays out. Very strategic, because you have over 10 different factions. You have the leaders, you have all of these different type of damage dealers, support characters that are pretty important to create that perfect synergy. But that was pretty much everything for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the new IP collaboration in Watcher of Realms? And before we're going, I actually have a bit of a surprise for you. By the way, if you want to try out the game, click on the link in the description down below or the pinned comment, scan one of the QR codes that you see on the screen, and download the game. Give it a go. I guarantee you're going to have a blast. But they do have a Dracula personality test. And who else is better to do that than Skratch Dracula himself, right? So let's actually do this test. I will be leaving the link to this in the description down below. You stand atop a high tower overlooking the war between vampire hunters and vampires. As their commander, you will wait patiently, striking only when the enemy reveals their deepest weakness. Of course, we're not just gonna jump into a fight without knowing what we're doing. One of your elite subordinates is struck by an enemy silver spear, lying in a pool of blood, begging for help. You will roar and charge into the enemy ranks, using slaughter as your immediate revenge, even at the cost of his life. No, we want to save him, right? Elegantly block their fatal blow, dragging him back into the shadows and attempting to save him. We can do that, you know, because that sounds like something that Count Dracula would do, but most likely he will let him die and just make new vampires. You finally confront your nemesis Van Helsing on the battlefield. He approaches with a silver axe, saying, "Either you die or I perish." Well, tear off your chest armor? No. Elegantly transform into a bat, teleporting beside him, and coldly warn today you have nowhere to escape. Ooh, I like that. That's exactly what I would do. On the battlefield, you unexpectedly save a young human girl, wounded and trembling. "I'm scared, I'm so cold." You smell her blood, pure and attained. You will ignore her, continue to the battle with the hunters, and trust her to Mina, allowing her to live under your protection. You know what? Let's involve Mina in this too. I feel like we should. While resting, Mina approaches, eyes filled with rare compassion perhaps. Humans shouldn't be utterly destroyed. You will roar at Mina. The feud between vampires and hunters will never end. Then draw your blade and charge. Gently caresses her cheek, promising to let humans exist in fear and order, showing noble mercy. Snap the neck of a captive in front of her. This is their fate. Not calmly they will live, but as my pause. How far they go is my decision. I think I'll go with the first one. And Act 6, which is the final one, guys, before we see the results and see if I'm the real Count Dracula. The war is nearing its end. You stand over a scorched battlefield. Night is silent. Your kin kneel, awaiting your final command. You will raise your scepter, kill all rebellious hunters, let humanity remember to offend the vampire is to choose that, rebuild order, letting humans live in fear but not despair, allow vampires into human series, indulging in an endless feast. Ooh. Or turn surrender hunters into pawns, secretly serving vampires within humanity. You know, that's actually a very good choice. Let's see. Bloodline identification. You act with composure yet lay traps in secret, letting others unknowingly fall into your game. Personality assessment. Noble restraint, an aristocrat in the shadows, master of manipulation, eternal shadow Dracula. That was all for this one, guys. Make sure you guys do this bloodline identification test as well, and let me know in the comments down below what you've got. Big shout out to Watcher of Realms for sponsoring today's video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Don't forget to give it a go by clicking the link in the description down below. Peace.
Download Watcher of Realms now, traversing time to find